ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
It is Wednesday, July 9th, and your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line this hour brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop. It's 304-396-TALK. That is 304-396-8255. Coming up today on the program, we're going to be joined by Ryan Crisp, the Associate Athletics Director for Annual Giving, Ticket Sales, and Fan Engagement at Marshall University. We're going to go over the latest on Herd football tickets, including season tickets, their mini plans. We're going to talk about single game sales and what you can expect for away games. I know that's always a big topic, especially when there are some really cool road trips in the future for Marshall. Ryan's going to tell us all about that. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about Marshall soccer and volleyball, those tickets as well. So if you don't have all the details on how to get your tickets just yet, or you're kind of curious, Ryan's going to get us caught up on that. And you never know, he might drop a surprise or two on us. So we'll talk to him in just a few minutes. Action from last night, the Appalachian League saw an offensive showcase from your Tri-State Coldcats as the Cats beat Bristol 17-4. Those two teams meet up again tonight, 7 o'clock in Bristol, Tennessee. From Major League Baseball yesterday, game you heard right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. It was the Royals getting the better of the Pirates 4-3. Final game of that series is coming up tonight. We're going to be on the air with it at 7:15, so lock it in right here if you want to catch up with the Pirates. The Reds got hammered yesterday, 12-2. Game 3 of that series tonight, 7:10 in Cincinnati. I was actually watching a little bit of that Reds game yesterday. It was on the CW, and Community Fund was in full swing. It was fun to watch that because at one point, Marty Brenneman called into the telethon, and they had to put the cell phone up against the microphone for Marty to speak. Marty enjoying retirement by what? Watching Reds games, of course. So the legend, we got a legend sighting yesterday. So that was a fun game to watch. The Guardians, well, okay, it was a fun game to watch. The score wasn't so hot. But the Community Fund, having Marty chime in, all of that was fun. Guardians got the victory over the Astros 10-6. Cleveland wins it in 10 innings. Series wraps up tonight 8-10 in Houston. While we're waiting to talk to Ryan Crisp, again, Ryan's the Associate Athletics Director for Annual Giving, Ticket Sales, and Fan Engagement. We're going to start lining your text up at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. A couple of things that have been, I don't want to say the ball has moved forward, but there's more talk that maybe the Sun Belt doesn't have to jump right away and pick up a Conference USA team. Of course, you got to replace Texas State eventually. Do you hold at 13 is what we've been asking, or do you make that decision to pick up a 14th member, or maybe you start making plans for a 15th and 16th member? There's been some chatter, and we even got into it. Ohio's been a team that there have been conversations about. We'll talk a little bit more about that because Ohio might not be the only team having conversations. The Mid-American Conference, there might be a few teams looking to get out, or at least there might be some talk of what would it look like in the Sun Belt coming from the Mid-American Conference. So we'll keep Ohio on the table. If we're going to cherry pick the Mid-American Conference, what's the second team we want to take? As if we have the power, but I'm giving it to you today. Which team, other than Ohio, do we really want from the Mid-American Conference? And, of course, Conference USA still in the mix as well as future teams. It's almost become – it's laughable, to be honest with you. Conference USA at the beginning of the league was really good, and – you look at it now, it's been picked over so many times. It's sort of like the entry level for Division I. If You want to get a foothold in Division One. You want to get a foothold in now FBS. You might start in Conference USA. For Marshall, it was the Mid-American Conference, but now it seems like your starter league, it's become Conference USA. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And the House settlement is supposed to be in effect now. Unfortunately, there are some schools that just still don't know the rules. We'll not talk about specific schools, but we'll talk about what some schools are maybe trying to do, not necessarily follow the rules, and the guidelines maybe still a little unclear. NCAA, the powers that be, still have a lot of work to do, and right now all parties involved have their hands full. And there, of course, there are going to be schools that try to skirt the rules. We're talking about possible bundles now and salary caps. We have salary cap. We don't have salary caps in the college ranks, do we? Are we really talking about that? That's coming up on the program as well. So sit back, get comfortable, wherever you're at. When we continue, it's been a while, but Ryan Crisp is going to be with us, the Associate Athletics Director for Annual Giving, Ticket Sales, Fan Engagement, always a great guest. We're going to talk about football season tickets. We're also going to talk about soccer, volleyball. Anything that you want to ask, hit that text line now, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. More coming up on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Taco Fest 3 Summer Circus is presented by Walking Billboard and Margaritas, Saturday, July 19th at Harris Riverfront Park in downtown Huntington. Enjoy more than 20 food vendors and area restaurants and their unique takes on tacos, nachos, burritos, and quesadillas. Plus a plethora of flavored margaritas, Mexican beers, and more. Taco eating contests for kids and adults, free carnival rides, and the Cincinnati Circus and more. Prizes include a free 5-day, 4-night carnival cruise for 2, free food, an 80-inch TV, and more. All at Harris Riverfront Park, Saturday, July 19th from 12 to 8. Rides start at 11. Sponsors include Sean Hornbuckle, Edward Jones, Rocco's, Texas Roadhouse, Western Regional Casa, Legends Barbershop, Sod's Wine and Spirits, Burke and Herbert Bank, and Margarita's Restaurant. Taco Fest 3 Summer Circus. Kids 12 and under get in free and ride the rides free. Saturday, July 19th at Harris Riverfront Park, downtown Huntington. Get more info on Facebook or at Taco Fest WV on Instagram.
No matter where you are in life, Mount West Community and Technical College isn't just about an education. It's a step toward your future. We provide the hands-on support you need with classes that fit your life. At Mount West, we know you by name because here, you're more than just a number. Mount West Community and Technical College, because you matter here. Visit mctc.edu to apply today.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-444-2013. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-444-2013. That's 800-444-2013. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-444-2013. 800-444-2013.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
DQ presents How to Make Your Summer Take Flight. Just head into DQ for a new Superman Cake Batter Cookie Dough Blizzard Treat. Treat your inner hero to an epic mix of sugar cookie dough, sprinkles, and cake batter flavor. Blend it all with legendary DQ soft serve, and it's enough to tempt Superman himself. Fly into DQ for our new Superman Cake Batter Cookie Dough Blizzard Treat before it's gone. And don't miss Superman, only in theaters July 11th. DQ, happy tastes good. Only at participating locations.
Hi, this is Dave Wilson, host of Metro News Talk Line, and you're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Thank you, Dave. Don't forget, coming up tomorrow, another edition of Metro News Talk Line right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We get started at 10:06 with Dave and TJ. Let's turn our attention now to Marshall football. We're getting closer to the start of football season. Do you have your tickets yet? If you don't, the next guest is going to tell us how you can get your tickets and what you can look forward to. He is Ryan Crisp, the Associate Athletics Director, Annual Giving, Ticket Sales, and Fan Engagement. Welcome back, sir. It's been a long time.
It has, Paul. I'm excited to be back. Obviously, it's been good getting some other voices and hearing from some other sports about what they got going on, but I'm excited to be back on the show.
Yeah, we've had a fun group of people check in, and we've talked about everything, and it was good. It was good the last few weeks to get some fresh voices on there that we haven't heard before, but it's great to have you back now because you are the man that makes it work at so many levels in the athletic department. You know why. So I don't want you to get the big head, but no lie there, Ryan. You're the guy.
No, I appreciate it's a team effort here. We're excited that the athletic season is fast approaching, and there's a lot of things going on. So we're working hard every day to make sure we can put on the best show and the best experience for our fans that we can.
I will say on a side note before we get into season tickets and opportunities for fans to get some of those packages, driving by the Shoey, I've spent a couple of days over in football area over at the I don't know what I want to call it there, the whole medical complex next door to the Shoey. You got a little bit of everything. You got Marshall Orthopedics. You got, of course, you have the Hall of Fame and everything, and you have a lot of bricks over by the Shoey as well. I don't know if you've noticed that.
Yeah, for sure. No, they are working hard on the construction for the deck. I know Brad was on the show a couple of weeks ago talking about that from Athlete Advantage and the Thunder Trust, but they are working hard on the construction. It's going to be ready for game one, even a few weeks ahead of time, which is great. The steel is going up as we speak, and so it's starting to take shape, and you can really see it coming for the finished product. So we're excited, and the construction guys are working hard to make sure that gets done.
So that's got a lot of people excited, but if you haven't got your season tickets just yet, we've got some good news. They're available now, and so Ryan's going to tell us more about what we can expect. So what do Herd fans need to know as far as their options? You've got anything from single game to mini plans. Season tickets are always an option for maybe a Herd fan. Maybe there's someone out there that would like season tickets, but they just don't know maybe what the process is or if they can afford it. That's where you come in, Ryan.
Yeah, for sure. There is a lot of options out there. Obviously we understand that, anytime you're purchasing a purchase like this is a major purchase for people. And so when someone purchases a season ticket to support Marshall Athletics, to support the football program, to support our student athletes, to support Marshall as a whole, right? Like it's very, very important to us, and we value that. So there is a lot of different options. Season ticket packages you can actually get for starting as low as $99 a ticket. Of course, that's our family pack deal. That's a 4-pack of tickets on the east side of the stadium. Buy 4 or more, you can get them for $99 a piece. So You can't get a better deal than that one right there. That's the best way to secure your seat for all 6 home games. Guarantee you know where you're going to sit when you walk into the stadium. You don't have to think about that or worry about that process. You're a season ticket holder. You're going to get your priority points. You're going to support Marshall at the highest level. And so that's a great way to do it. There are other options if you want to sit in a different section, or maybe the availability for the family packs is not where you want to sit. So you can purchase anything from an end zone ticket at $145 up to a chair back ticket, right at midfield, which when you combine the donation and the ticket cost will put you at $625. So lots of options for fans for all different price points. The experience can be different depending on where you sit. If you get in the chair backs, you have access to the big green room, which has private restrooms, private concession stands, TVs, air conditioning, all that kind of stuff, indoor-outdoor access, which is great. Now we have the deck option, which is obviously a very high price point, but for the value of what you get in the experience, I don't know if there's a better value in the stadium. So for $2,500, you get entry into the stadium. You get to have access to the deck and to the seats, field level there. You get field access. You get all you can eat, all you can drink throughout the entire game. And so it's really there's lots of options for people from a season ticket basis. Purchasing a season ticket is the best way to show your support. It helps us financially quite a bit. New season ticket sales were actually announcing on Friday. They've surpassed the 1,000 mark for new season ticket sales, which is absolutely incredible. We're approaching an all-time record of season tickets that have been sold. So we're just in a really, really good spot, and we are very appreciative of Thundering Herd fans and stepping up and buying the season tickets. And so that truly is the best way to do it and to be a part of Marshall University and the Marshall family.
Now, I'm curious, with all the experiences that you're trying to build one at a time, and we mentioned several weeks now that the end zone seating is coming along, and that's going to be a completely different experience. What are you anticipating the next level for Marshall's going to be? That chairback level, that East Prime level, you get access to the big green room. What are maybe some future plans to kind of create more zones like that, or enhance some of those experiences? I know we got to go with end zone seating first before we can move on, but can you update us on that, and maybe what some future plans are to try to create even more value?
Yeah, it's funny you said that, Paul, because right now we're currently working on trying to figure out what our fans want, what they value the most. And so if you go to herdzone.com, at the very top right in the center, there's a little button that says 2025 football season tickets. You can click on that. When you click on that, you can see options for this year and what's available and all that kind of stuff. But then there's also options for Sky Suites and premium seating, which is called Four Tops, which is the company that supplies the tables and the chairs and all that good stuff. When you click on that, there is no availability for those currently. When you click on the link, it's going to share more information, that it's going to have you fill out a form saying, yes, I'm interested in this. I want to know more about this. It goes over the price points. It details it out of what it is. There's no surprises. And we're doing that to find out, what is in demand? What are people looking for? So once we get those results in, this has been live since about March. So about 4 months in, we're going to let it go up until when this season starts. We're going to take a look at those submissions, and we're going to see, okay, what are people interested in? What price point makes the most sense for them? Are they interested in a Sky Suite, that's going to cost you, about $30,000 for the year? Is that what people want? Do they want just a four-top, a premium seat that's going to be about $5,000 a year? Kind of where are they at? What are they looking for? For this year, we're looking at some things actually in the south end zone. Nothing permanent, not a permanent structure, but adding some tables, some high-top tables, some bar stools, some tents that people would be able to rent either on a single game basis, or we think there might be people that want to buy that area on a season basis, since we don't have any Sky Suites available currently. So we are looking for ways. Obviously our goal, we have really two main goals. One is to create revenue, which is the most important thing right now in college athletics, to make sure we can still compete at the highest level. But the other thing is to make sure that our fans get an experience that they want. So it may be something where someone doesn't want to buy a metal bleacher seat and sit there and watch the game the entire time. They want a premium experience. They want to be able to hang out with their friends or their family, their customers, their coworkers, their clients, whatever it may be. They want to hang out with them and take in the game in a different way than maybe somebody else. So we're trying to figure out all that to better help us understand what we need to do in our stadium for years to come. But yeah, that we're looking at something for this year. Once again, not a major project, but just something that's another area that people would be able to rent to be able to host their company or their clients or their friends, whatever it may be, in that area. And then we're trying to learn more about what's next and what do our fans want, and which way do we need to go.
Ryan Crisp joins us, the Associate Athletics Director, Annual Giving Ticket Sales and Fan Engagement. So football season tickets available now. Single tickets going on sale soon. If you're a Big Green member, you get first shot at them. General access a few days later.
Yeah, for sure. Once again, being a Big Green member is a great way to support Marshall. Marshall Athletics starts at $60 a year, $5 a month. When you join the Big Green, you do have some perks. This is one of the small perks you get where you do have early access to single game tickets. So if you're an out-of-town fan, or you're someone that has a job that doesn't allow you to come to a lot of home games, whatever it may be, and you're like, hey, I just need to come to homecoming, or I just want to come to the first one, or maybe there's a couple, whatever it may be, join the Big Green. You're going to get early access 2 days before everyone else. We sell so many tickets in those first 2 days to Big Green members that the availability does change. You will get a better seat if you're able to be a Big Green member and purchase early. You will get better seat selection and all that good stuff. So it's just a great way to not only support Marshall once again, but then also, guarantee your seat before the general public's able to grab those seats. So a little 2-day early access for those single game tickets, like you said, Paul, 2 weeks from today, actually, July 23rd is when those will go on sale to Big Green members, and then that Friday, the 25th, is when we'll open up to the general public. So, single game tickets go there. If you're not able to buy a season ticket, you can't come to enough games, but you want more than one game, another option we launched earlier this week was the mini plans. So mini plans this year is a pick 3 out of 6, any of the home games. Pick any 3. You don't have to buy a game. You don't have to buy or not buy a certain game, whatever it may be. They're all included. You pick 3 out of the 6. You get to pick your seat. You get guaranteed seat location for those 3 games. It'll be the same seat location for whatever games you pick. So just another option, another flexibility point for our fans to be able to support us, but also have value for the fan if that's a better option for them.
Ryan Crisp with Associate Athletics Director, Annual Giving Ticket Sales and Fan Engagement. Now, football's not the only sport that's getting ready for seasons. We're excited for soccer, obviously, both men's and women's. Volleyball will be getting underway as well. Let's start with volleyball, since there's some slight renovations going on right now inside the Henderson Center. The floor is progressing quite nicely. I can't tell you how I've seen it, Ryan, but I've seen the floor. It's looking pretty good.
Yeah, I was actually just over there about 20 minutes ago, and I checked it out myself, and I think they're in the final stages of nailing in the floor to the subfloor, or whatever they're doing. They got a lot of nail guns over there. That's all I know, and they're working hard. So the court's almost done in terms of the wood itself. They got to let it sit for a couple of weeks, and they come back and they do the paint job in the Henderson Center on the spot, which will be a cool thing to watch. I will tell you, we do have a camera set up capturing every moment. And so once it's all said and done, we'll be able to release a little time-lapse video and give fans a little behind-the-scenes look at, what's going on and how they did it and what it took. So we're excited for that. Volleyball is just around the corner. They are playing a lot of their first games on the road, and I think there may be their first official game against EKU. It's looking like we'll actually play that in Skaggs in the practice facility, just to give the court the most amount of time to make sure it's settled and ready for basketball season and the rest of volleyball season. So their first game will actually probably be in Skaggs, but then after that, they'll be in the Henderson Center. Heather Stout, first-year head coach, ready to roll. Got some players through the transfer portal. Got some young freshmen that she's really excited about. So we're excited to see what they have to offer. They have courtside seats available for the most premier seat you can get, sitting right next to the action at $200, all the way down to a $25 family pack season ticket. So a lot of options for volleyball. And yeah, we're excited for their season and what Heather Stout can do in her first year as a head coach. And then, as you mentioned, soccer. We'll start with women's soccer. Same deal. They got season tickets on sale, anywhere from $25 to $40. You can support women's soccer and be a season ticket holder. And then men's soccer. Imagine this: we sold out the entire grandstand again. That was all done through season ticket renewals, which basically means everyone that had tickets last year purchased their tickets again for this year. A great problem to have at men's soccer. The demand is off the charts. But we do have tickets for sale, either general admission season tickets, or also there is the bleacher that we brought in last year, the temporary bleacher section 100, that is a reserve seat. There are a few seats left in there for sale that fans can grab. So some great options for those sports. Men's soccer, I will tell you, if you want a ticket to the game, a season ticket is the way to go. It's the only way to guarantee that you'll be able to get a ticket to every game. It guarantees you postseason access, which I know most fans probably remember 2 years ago when West Virginia came here for the Sun Belt tournament. That game sold out in 8 minutes. But season ticket holders didn't have to worry about that. They had their seats secured. They were able to do that before we went on sale. So you just don't have to worry about that kind of thing. It makes it much more convenient for you. And if you want to be in that main grandstand area, which is, it is the best seat in the house, the only way to do that is to get in as a season ticket holder, purchase what you can for year one, and then hopefully, come years 2, 3, 4, whatever it may be, you're going to be able to move into the main grandstand. But, that's where we're at for men's soccer, and we're excited for their season. National runners up a year ago, and, Coach Grassi always has that team playing at the highest level and a national contender every year. So, it's a great time at Marshall Athletics for all sports. Obviously, we talked a lot about the things today, and everything that I talked about, involves money and people spending. But your investment means a lot to us, especially in this ever-changing landscape of college athletics where every dollar matters. We want to compete at the highest level. We want to be the premier Group of 5 school in the country, and to do that, we need fans' help in purchasing tickets and supporting us however they can.
To your point, I don't know if people understand truly the best way to support Marshall Athletics is not necessarily through contributions, and those matter and they're very important, but season tickets, people buying tickets, that is a major source of revenue for any athletic department, especially at Marshall.
It is. We have a lot of revenue streams that come into athletics, from sponsorships to ticket sales to donations to student fees to the conference payout to TV rights. All those little things add up. But at the end of the day, yes, purchasing a ticket, being a Big Green member, those are all very valuable. Sharing our posts on social media, liking our posts on social media. When you're at the game, taking a picture and putting it on social media and talking about the experience you had at Marshall and how great it was. And you love tailgating. You love coming to the games. You love when Marshall wins. All of those things add up. Paul, we've talked about it before, but that word-of-mouth marketing is by far the most powerful form of marketing in the world. So when, the fan comes and they take a picture in the football stadium from their seats and put it on social media and say, had a great time at the Marshall game this week, that's going to provide much more influence than what anyone else can provide as a friend or a family member to that person. And so it's just great when fans can do that and support us any way they can to make us, the best we can be and make sure we put our best foot forward and we're excelling in everything we do.
My guest is Ryan Crisp, Associate Athletics Director, Annual Giving, Ticket Sales, and Fan Engagement. One item on my notes I almost went past. If you're a Herd fan and you want to go see the Thundering Herd play on the road, what do you need to know? What do you need to do?
Yeah, so we are on sale for all away games on herdzone.com right now. So if you go to the buy tickets tab, you'll see football and then you'll see away games. So we are on sale for all away games. You have to be a Big Green member or a season ticket holder to purchase tickets to an away game. And that's just done purely based on demand. We go through our allotments very quickly. The Georgia allotment for that first away game at Georgia is almost gone. We're probably within a week of selling out those tickets. So if you're looking to go to that game, make sure you hop on and buy those immediately. Then the other games will all go quickly. Obviously, the Coastal Carolina, that game is always highly attended by our fans. So we know those tickets are going to go quick. And same thing with App State, obviously a longtime rival. Late in the year, which probably means there's going to be some postseason play implications at that game. And so App State's always a game that we sell well. And then really a lot of our games are great spots for our fans. You know, Middle Tennessee, Nashville, obviously a former Conference USA opponent. We've been there a couple times before. We kind of know what to expect. And a pretty, easy trip for fans from Huntington. Louisiana, going back to some good memories from last year and winning the Sun Belt title on that field. So, a great place to go and experience that. And then Georgia State, Atlanta, right? We have a lot of fans in that area already, a lot of players from that area, a lot of alumni that live in that area. But then also I know there's the flight out of Charleston direct to Atlanta, which is a pretty easy flight and matches up well for the game itself. So a lot of good options for road games this year for our fans to get to. And these tickets will go quick based on the allotment that we were given. And so if you're looking to go to a road game, I highly suggest making your decision and purchasing these in the next week to 2 weeks.
And just to stress this, what's the difference between picking up a single game ticket from, say, Georgia or picking up that game ticket from Marshall? What's the difference?
Yeah, I think the biggest difference is obviously just any road game. It's all about the allotment that we're given, right? So we don't get to control how many tickets. We can request a certain amount of tickets, but from a visiting school standpoint, they're going to tell us how many tickets are available for us to purchase from them. So with those road game tickets, it's a different game. A lot of people don't know this, but we purchase the tickets from the visiting team school, and then you buy the ticket, and we basically just transfer your money to that school. And so it's kind of a funky process. We really don't make any money off of road games. It's kind of just, our fans like to deal with us and understand our website, already have an account through us and all that good stuff. So we allow fans to purchase tickets to the road games through us. But at the end of the day, it's just kind of a pass through. And so it's just it's a different way to do things. But it's great for our fans to be able to sit with other Marshall fans at those games. And obviously, I think it's well known through all of Herd Country that we travel well. And probably travel the best within all Sun Belt schools when you go to other places. And so we're excited to take our show on the road and kind of show the world what we can do.
He's Ryan Crisp, the Associate Athletics Director for Annual Giving, Ticket Sales, and Fan Engagement. Anything you want to drop on us before we let you go? Any surprises? Come on, tease me with something, Ryan. You've taught your understudies well. Not a single one of them would crack when I try to press them for just one more thing.
Yeah, there's always things down the pipeline, right, Paul? There's always things we're working on, always things that our fans are going to like. Obviously the new jerseys were a big thing that we were working on. The deck's been a thing that we've been working on. There's some smaller things that we're adding in there for this year that I think our fans are going to like and they're going to enjoy. But at the end of the day, we don't tell the story until the story's written, and we want to make sure all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed. So when we get to that point, we'll be happy to share those. But we are working on something for one of the single games that'll be a pretty big show that people are going to like. And so we're excited. We just got to get to the finish line, and then we can talk all about it.
Okay, that's fair. My guest is Ryan Crisp. He handles it all. He's the Associate Athletics Director, Annual Giving, Ticket Sales, and Fan Engagement. As always, good to catch up with you, and looking forward again to it soon.
All right, Paul, I appreciate it. Go Herd.
There you have it. That's all the information you need for season tickets. Head over to herdzone.com if you want to check out everything Ryan talked about. We will get your text in 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255 when we continue on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Sip into summer with $3 margaritas at the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe. Classic lime, mango, blackberry, or desert pear. Marshall Hall of Fame margaritas are handcrafted to bring the taste of summer straight to your table. You can enjoy a round or two without breaking the bank. Pair your margarita with the cafe's Baja Chicken Street Tacos and make every moment a fiesta. This is a limited time offer, so get to the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe today on the corner of Fun and 3rd Avenue in downtown Huntington.
Ready to embrace the golden years of your life? Look no further than Woodlands, the Tri-State's premier senior living community. With its stunning hilltop views, Woodlands offers a world of peace and serenity with living options designed just for you, balancing independence with a secure future. Come experience the Woodlands lifestyle for yourself. Call 304-697-1620 or visit woodlandswv.com to learn more. Woodlands Retirement Community, welcome to the neighborhood.
Here's another Kinder Communications Community Chatter. Ashland Animal Rescue Fund is having a yard sale from 8:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. July 12th at Office Furniture USA on Winchester Avenue in Ashland. If you want to donate, drop off items July 11th at the Kennel on Kevin Avenue.
This Kinder Communications Community Chatter brought to you by the home of the car ferry, MarkPorterAutoGroup.com. Visit their locations in Jackson, Pomeroy, and Ashland. The soundtrack to your summer is back. Mount West Night Street Live, downtown Huntington's favorite Friday night tradition. Presented by Michelob Ultra and White Claw. This Friday, July 11th, it's Collins Career Center night featuring 2 sets from the John Ingram Band on the Marsha OBGYN stage. The Little Caesars Kids Zone is back, and Gomart Happy Hour starts at 5. Enjoy food and drinks from the Marsha Hall of Fame Cafe, Sip Downtown Brasserie, and Summit Beer Station. Mark your calendar for July 18th, the return of Jeremy Short. Join us July 25th for Souls of the Wounded. The Thundering Herd Rally is Friday, August the 15th. Night Street Live is driven by University Ford and built by Cardinal Roofing. Every Friday night through Labor Day, Night Street in Huntington between 3rd and 4th Avenues. Sponsored by Delta Hotels, Wendy's, Mountain Mindful, City of Huntington, Marshall University, Blinko Glass Company, Marshall Health Arena, and Kinder Communications. This Friday, it's the John Ingram Band at Mount West Night Street Live. Be there.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Our text line is now open at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Welcome back. It is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Let's get you caught. Easy for me to say. Let's get you caught up on what's happening across Thundering Herd Athletics. First of all, good news and bad news. I'll let you be the judge. Congratulations. You know, we want to say congratulations. Taylor Sandifer, Marshall's baseball pitching coach, he has been hired by Sun Belt Conference rival Louisiana. So hoping that is at least an upgrade for him financially. You know, you hate it when coaches transfer to different schools. Case in point, Marshall, Coach Huff, Southern Miss. Should I say more? But so congratulations to Taylor making a change. Free agency, right, man? Free agency. But it's not. It's just he's making a switch. And then former Thundering Herd pitcher who had several good years in the majors, Dan Straley, He has announced his retirement, so we wish the best to him in retirement. Had a good run in the majors. We've been talking a lot about Sun Belt Conference expansion over the last couple of weeks, ever since the word was official that Texas State would be moving to the Pac-12. So now what does the league do? What is best for not only the Sun Belt, but for Marshall? I don't know if what's best for the Sun Belt is necessarily going to be what's best for Marshall. If that was the case, we would finish this right now and pick up Western Kentucky and let's call it a day. Or do you do that? That's going to be the big question here. We were touching on Ohio. That came up, and we started to talk about that. And it was a positive reaction from a lot of our listeners. If you weren't with us, when I mentioned Ohio could be a potential candidate or maybe a future member of the Sun Belt, no one seemed opposed to it. Now, does Ohio bring you much more value than Texas State? And I don't think that's really the question here, because Ohio brings Marshall, a close rival, that expands the Sun Belt footprint into Ohio. It's not going to be the most dominant footprint, but Ohio has a nice following. Athens is a beautiful college campus town. It's a college town. It's really a great place. Going to watch a football game at Peden has always been a great experience. And so Ohio has a lot to offer. The Convocation Center is great. I'm not going to argue with anyone over that. This next statement might make some of you mad, but the Convocation Center, much, much nicer as far as the basketball atmosphere than the Henderson Center. Now, the Henderson Center has its own personality and charm, but I've always been a fan of the Convocation Center. It's just a great place to watch a basketball game. Now, that doesn't mean that the Henderson Center can't be that place, and we've seen over the last few years efforts to make the Henderson Center more inviting, but in basketball, Ohio's a good get. Is it going to contend for the championship? It possibly could on a yearly basis. And the Convocation Center, a great place. Peden's a nice place to watch a football game. Ohio gives you a little bit more of a footprint into Ohio. But what if Ohio wasn't the only school out of the Mid-American Conference that has been making some overtures, or at least through unofficial channels or back channels, to be a member of the Sun Belt? Which school, other than Ohio, would you like to see the Sun Belt take a look at? You have several options. You have Akron. Do you want to keep it Ohio? Do you just want to pick up a couple of Ohio schools? And then your choices might be Akron. You could also look at Bowling Green. You could look at Kent. You could look at Miami. You could look at Toledo. Which schools make the most sense for the Sun Belt? And I would say right now, scratch Buffalo. I'm going to say scratch Central, scratch Eastern. Hate to say this because I like UMass. Scratch UMass. And I also hate to say this. Scratch Western Michigan. That leaves you Ball State. Scratch Ball State. We're down to Akron, Kent, Miami, Ohio, Toledo. Ohio's a yes from me. So that means, do you look at Toledo, Miami, Kent, Akron? I would look at possibly, and let's keep this in mind, Do you want a school that has football tradition? Well, Miami used to have a real strong tradition. I don't know if it has what it used to, but Miami's a good pickup, possibly. Toledo, possibly. Marshall and Toledo really got after each other. I don't know if I'm saying yes to Akron necessarily. I don't know if I'm saying yes to Bowling Green. I want a program that's going to at least have some mind share. So I'm going to leave that to you. Text line 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. And yes, I know Toledo has come up before. But if you're going to raid the MAC, and none of these are bad universities. Nothing is other than Buffalo. I would veto Buffalo in a heartbeat. It just doesn't fit. I'm looking for what fits in the Sun Belt. What fits? And I would say Ohio schools probably would be a stretch, but Ohio itself could fit. And I don't know if I want to dip into Muncie, Indiana for another school. No offense to Ball State, David Letterman University there. And I don't know if I want to go too north with Toledo. And then, of course, you'd have to reconfigure the Sun Belt. Instead of east-west, you'd have north and south with some of the dynamics that you would be creating. So I would say no to UMass. I would say no to Buffalo. No to any of the Michigan schools. And I hate that because I like Western Michigan. I would say possibly, unless you're picking up 3 out of the MAC to get to 16, I would create that Ohio, Miami, Ball State corridor. Maybe. Texter just said, Paul, I like what Ohio University could add to the Sun Belt, but I'm not sure the Sun Belt would be attractive to Ohio University. The increase in the travel budget would be astronomical, and I don't want Miami for anything. All right, appreciate that. Hey, look, I don't like the Red Hawks either, but I think that's why I like the Red Hawks. We're going to take our final break, come back. We're going to keep the text line open for the rest of the show here on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
I'm Nori, and when I was young, my mom opened our home to someone who needed a secure and safe place. She taught him what it was like to have someone care about you, having dinner at home or going out to eat together.
In West Virginia, families open their homes every year to adult family care.
Some folks need a little extra help, but everybody deserves a family.
Call the Department of Human Services and ask to speak to an adult family care home finder at 304-269-6820. Sponsored by the West Virginia Department of Human Services, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station. This project is supported by the Administration for Community Living, ACL, of the United States U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, as part of a financial assistance award totaling $1,227,345, with 100% funded by ACL HHS. The contents are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL HHS or the U.S. government.
Truck accident? Tom Boggs is here for you in Huntington, and he's brought the expertise of Warner Law Offices with him.
Call 345-6789.
Buddy's All-American Barbecue is now in Milton. Enjoy all your favorite Buddy's classics like pulled pork, brisket, ribs, and more on East Main Street in Milton. Buddy's All-American Barbecue, the home of great barbecue, ice-cold beer, and killer wings in Huntington and now in Milton.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Follow at Paul Swann on X for Marshall sports updates and more.
Final segment for today's edition of the show. Plenty of time for you with our text line brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop. We thank them, and we open up that line now at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Something we're going to save for tomorrow because I don't have enough time to really get into it, so hopefully we can table it for tomorrow. Is there a lot of schools in the NCAA under the House agreement that are, I don't want to say gaming the system, but it's not exactly clear how this is going to work. So there's already some reports, and this is from Ross Dellinger at Yahoo Sports. There are some reports of schools that are front-loading NIL money to secure recruits. That's prohibited under the new guidelines. So enforcement right now still in limbo. The NCAA system not caught up to this yet. And there are lots of third-party NIL deals that are still under review, according to Dellinger's reporting over at Yahoo Sports. Additionally, coaches are raising some concerns, suggesting that schools are using NIL offers as part of a player's overall compensation package, which also violates the new rules. So we're not done yet. There are programs and there are outside parties that are still trying to game this system. It's not over, folks. Text line 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Texter says, thumbs up to Ohio U and the Sun Belt. Appreciate that. And to another texter's point earlier, is Ohio interested? You got to remember, there's a new athletic director in Athens. Also, according to several reports, Ohio has expressed interest, and multiple programs have expressed interest in joining the Sun Belt. Part of the deal here is there are a lot of programs who are just getting tired of the midweek football games. The MACtion there. And would the travel be better in the MAC? Maybe, but that has been brought up as a concern for some programs. Obviously, you got to go to UMass. You got to go to Buffalo. From our text line, texter says, Paul, my MAC picks would be Ohio University and Miami. I was at the 66-6 game, and I will always hate Miami. That being said, bring on the Red Hawks. I will love kicking their butts. Appreciate the text. Do you remember 66-6? If you're a Younger Herd fan, do you know what we're talking about? If you don't, go look that up, because it's been a while. It's been a while for some of the Younger Herd fans. For those that were around for 66-6, that means a lot. I'm going to go way back into the Paul Swann history books here. When Deb Novak was producing and creating the documentary Ashes to Glory, she would come on my radio program, and she would talk about Miami and go, but Paul, 66-6. She was serious. And if you ever met Deb is this very petite, tiny person in the grand scheme of life. She would have been a terror in that mood that I saw her in when we were talking about 66-6. Deb did great work, and I don't think she still gets enough credit for a lot of the things that she helped bring to the table. She was able to tell the story of Marshall and that plane crash, Ashes to Glory. That definitely laid, in my opinion at least, the groundwork for We Are Marshall, and I'm sure that she doesn't get enough credit, so I will remember her fondly. That's going to do it for this edition of the show. She's still around. When I mean remember her fondly, I haven't talked to her in a while, but she's still around. Just for clarification, I don't want to get a phone call. Paul, she's still around. That's going to do it for this edition. I appreciate everyone checking in today. We want to thank our guest, Ryan Crisp, the Associate Athletics Director, Annual Giving, Ticket Sales, and Fan Engagement. If you can find it, go check it out. Ashes to Glory, I do recommend it for Younger Herd fans that haven't watched it. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, 66-6, go look that up. Marshall, Miami, 66-6. Google that now, and then you'll probably be mad as well. That's going to do it. Thanks for being a part of it.
Broadcasting from the Dave & Buster's studios. Eat, drink, play, and watch at Dave & Buster's in the Huntington Mall. ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. WRBC, W231BS Huntington.